All right, everyone. Here is an overview of the dashboard we are going to be creating from the scratch. So before we begin, I think there is need for you to see the end result. So now, as you can see right here, so we have this particular card here, and we have this part where it says select from second month to see result. So if I select any of the month, if I select January now, what we're still going to see is this right here. But by the time I select February, so what happens is this is our current, our selection. For the month of February, we made 8.3 million US dollars. And for the previous month, which is January, we made 9.7 million US dollars, which made it higher than the current month we have in selection. And you can see our revenue dropped by 15.20%. So if I select March, what do I see? In March, we are seeing the value for March is 7.7 million US dollars, and the previous one, which is February, is 8.2 million US dollars, which actually still drop our revenue by $6.88. So if I select where I can have positive results, then that is going to be okay. The current revenue right now is 9.7, which is higher than the previous one. The previous one returns, which is the March of May, returns $7.6 million, right? Now we have the increment of revenue in this particular month of April to be 25.94%. So how do we do this? I'm going to show you how everything is done. So you can actually select a particular, sales channel. You'll see it dropping or increasing, depends on where you have selected. Now you can select a particular product to see what is going on a product wise and stuff like that. That is beautiful. So one of the fantastic part I love about this dashboard is that we were able to actually control the whole sliders with a single button, which I'm going to show you how to actually, add in this project. So what you need to do now is just to come right here and click on reset all, and that is all you have to do. As you can see, with the reset all, the whole slider just got reset. That is all it is. So we actually, answering questions and just drop in visuals onto the dashboard. So which products contributed more to revenue? So we're able to actually analyze and actually, answer the question right here. What is our top region and sales channel? So we're going to see how everything actually got played out in the analytics part, where we actually, try to see how we can bring those logics together to make sure the front end communicate a lot to the end users. So if you want to actually follow me on how everything played out, just follow every single video by and by. Don't jump anything for you to have the full understanding, except if you know for sure that the step I've taken is something you know how to do, then you can jump. But if you have it some kind of like, I've not known this before, don't skip, just follow me step by step for we to create this all together. All right, here is the data set we are going to use. As you can see, we have the raw data. The date is not actually on the actual date, and we have these products mixed up with both male and female. So all we have to do is to actually push this into Power Query, make transformation, add columns, and all that. So what we can do now is just to make sure we turn this into a table. Even though if we do not turn it into a table, if by the time we go to the top ribbon here and click on data, so we want to get this data, and what we just want to tell, our Power Query now is that pick this data here inside our, worksheet. And once I just click on that, it is going to automatically convert this into an official table for me. So by clicking on OK, it will definitely push this into Power Query, where we can actually do our cleaning and transformation, then bring it back to the sheet, because the data is not that heavy, which we have to, by all means, push into our Power Pivot. It's just a single data set, no multiple tables. It's not complicated at all. So we can manage this inside the Excel worksheet. All right, here we are. The first thing we do when we get here is just make sure we transform this invoice date here. So I'm going to turn this into a date. So it is actually asking you if you want to replace this current step or you want to add a new step. Let us replace. So now we have it appeared on a date format. That is beautiful. From this date, I want to extract the weekday from here and as well the month. Those are the two things I really want to use. So I want to go here now. Well, I can go to add column. So already we've learned about transform and add column and you know what they are. So now coming for the month name, that helps you to extract the month. So we don't want to use the default month you have there. So I can come here right now and go to transform. From there I can use this extract first character. I want the first 3 character from this particular month's name here. So make sure you just type 3 in there and click on OK. That extracts the 3 character for you. So if there is need for you to use the weekday, you can actually go ahead now. So do the same thing, go right here, come here. And once you actually get to week, you just go to day rather. So go to day and you just name of day. And that gives you this. So let's just scroll to this end. That gives you this. With this now, you can just do the same thing we've done here by extracting the first 3 characters. So we're extracting the first 3 characters and that is beautiful. Okay, nicely done. All right, our main concern is how to actually split the man's from the woman's in this product. So we have the same product for both male and female, but they are joined together. So we want to actually make sure we separate them. So if I just do this now, you can see we have man's for this product, we have men's, we have women's for the same 3 products, right? I'm gonna cancel it. So for we to separate the men's from the women's, what we can do now is just for we to do the same thing again by adding a new column. So we are not transforming this. We go to extract and we want to extract first character no, last character no. So between the limiter, okay, text before the limiter or text after the limiter. So let us use text after the limiter. So you just have to play around with it and see. So what the limiter are we looking at? So we have space the limiter after men's and women's right here. So that wouldn't take into the account like counting how many letters we have. So the space delimiter is what we're gonna need. So you can choose to come to advanced level right here. So on the advanced level, you can choose to see how many you want to skip. So you don't want to skip anything, put that on 0. Don't bother about this here. Just come here and tap a space on your space bar. So let us try that and see. So I'm going to navigate to this end here, and that gives you this right here. So you can see how that works. But actually, this is not what we want. So if you want to remove this, what you can do is for you to come right here and just click on remove. That removes that for you. You get it? So what we definitely want right now is this one. So go to the same way. It's going to be text before. In that text before, we want to use space. Tap to give a space. And yeah, we click on split. This. So this is exactly what we want. So if this is what we want, the next thing we can do now is for we to actually remove all the men's we have, all the s with the apostrophe we have right there. So I want to go ahead and just look for a replace value here, and you can find the replace value under this transform. So you can come here and see where we have this replace value and errors. So go with this. So what do we want to replace? I want to replace anything that has to do with this and else. So you understand? So replace with nothing. Just click on OK. So that gives me this. Beautiful, huh? All right. So it is time for me to transform this one here. So what I'm going to do now is just to make sure I move. You can just move this to wherever you really like to actually have this right on. So I'm going to have this right here. So under this one now, I want to transform this. So and I'm going to go to extract here. So we used after, we used before, and now we are using after the space. And I just want to keep this. Do you get it now? So now this is pointing at this. This is exactly what we had before now. So it's pointing at this. So you can see we have just 3 different products here for both men and women. Even though if I load more, I wouldn't have more. And we have the gender here. So all I have to do now is just to come here and name this one gender. So name this one gender, and here is my products. Okay, we are not done yet. The next thing we have to do is just to scroll a bit here, and you can find where we have our unit, price per unit for the product we have, and how many units were sold. That is the total order. All right, how do we actually add the revenue generated between this product when we multiply it by the unit, ordered? So let us go to add column here, and we can see where we have custom column. So by clicking on custom column here, you can now type in here the revenue, total revenue. So to calculate the total revenue now, we want to multiply the units sold. So the unit sold, you can double click it. So we want to multiply that by what? By the price per unit. So price per unit. And once we click on OK now, it's going to add a new column for us. So we just want to make sure this one is on a whole number. So we can drag it and make sure it's close to this. Beautiful. So what about this? Can you see what we've gotten now? So if there is anything you want else, again, you can do a lot with this data. Just do a lot of transformation with this data. All right, one thing I wouldn't keep is I don't have the need of keeping this very retailer ID here. We don't need it, so we can truncate it to actually keep our file size, pretty small. For the invoice date, we need it, so we can have this one here, and region, state, and city. So if we scroll again down here, okay, I think this is all we want. So if there is anything we need, we can always come back to our Power Query to get things, shift and, changed, whatever. So for now, we are done with the Power Query. So what we can do next is for we to click on this home. So we don't want to load this into the Power Pivot, just like what we had done in our first class. So we just load into, and when you just click on load to, it's going to actually try to load to a particular worksheet, a new worksheet. So we can see it defaulted this into a table for you. So we can call this one transform data. So transform data, and I can move this here. So this time around, we can go ahead and close this because we don't need to have this, have that by all means. So this is what we're going to use for analysis, not this one. But remember, this one has a link to this one. So without this one here would not come to life. So for that, we need to actually keep this one, because if we have new update, this is where we're going to have to add the data and make a refresh, and it's going to actually update this particular one right here. So that is why it's very important for you. All right. If you look at this place, it's very dynamic. So it says select from second month to see, result. So before we can see, the previous month and the monthly change, we must actually select February, and February is being compared to January right now. So in January we made 9.7. If I return back to January right now, you can see no value right here, so it's giving us 9.7 right here. By the time I select February, it's going to compare February to January here, and it's making us to see that, okay, now it went down by 15.20%. So you get that. So how do we actually create this kind of cards right here? So is what you are kind of waiting for, right? So let's just go ahead to our main sheet here, And right now we need to get started. So the first thing you do is just to insert a pivot table from the data you have transformed, not from the raw data, which we actually not take it to Power Query. So this is the one we brought from Power Query here. So go to insert and click on pivot table. Then you use the new worksheet here, make sure it's checked. Once you do this, it's going to give you this. So I don't always fancy how it looks. I'm going to keep some kind of 2 lines. And at the top here, I want to just make sure I have 4 at the top so I can have it centralized in this area. So once I'm done, first of all, what I need to do is for me to pull in my total revenue here. And I'm going to bring in my units sold as well. So we just want to see how many transactions have we made that amount to this revenue and this quantity sold. To do that, we don't have to write any DAX, just like what we did in the previous video. So you can actually do it by actually getting any of these particular, column into value. For example, if I pick like gender into value, what's going to happen? It's going to default gender into a count for me because gender is not actually a numeric, value. Is going to default that into a count for me. But if I drag something like a price per unit here, what's going to happen is going to be sum. So before I can be able to get exactly a number like this, I have to make sure I do this. Then go to view value field settings, and you have to do it manually by changing it into count. And that gives you the same value just like this, which means both number column and text column can be converted into counting the whole rows for us. So this is actually giving us the total rows we have existing in our database. All right, if you want to see if this is true, I just want you to actually, remember what we have here, 9648. So if I come here now and highlight any of this column here, look at what we have here. So we have the same 9648 under the count, beneath here. Can you see my cursor right now? Sorry for that. So 9648 is what we have. Even though if I select this now, can you see what I'm going to have? I'm going to have average, I'm going to have count, I'm going to have the sum again. So this is what we're looking forward to seeing. So it's counting how many rows we have in our data, just like what we did when we actually used DAX to calculate it. So we did count rows. So now this is actually counting rows automatically for us. So I'm going to pull this one out. Okay, right here for the consistency purpose, I can come and open up my formula bar to begin to change things around. So I want to take off my sum of total. And by the time I do that, pivot table would not allow me to do that because it's actually sensing that we have total revenue existing here. So there could not be duplicate of it. So why don't we trick pivot table to allow us to do what we want? Okay, just say okay to it. So you can actually add a space, 1 or 2 spaces. So space is just known as character in text. So here we go. We have actually gotten that done. So the same thing we've done is what I'm going to do to this as well. Take it off and add 1 space, hit enter. That gives you what you want. So under this one here, we don't want to change, just remove something. We just want to make this one to be numbers of transaction. So that is exactly what it is. So now for these 2 here, I want to actually format it differently. I'm going to go with my control 1, and we have to use the custom number formatting. So already I have this here. You can actually copy it. You're going to see that I named it advanced number formatting. So just copy this particular code. So we've learned about this previously. So you can just copy the code. And from here, you can actually have the code pasted in general here. So you click on OK. So this one here is actually unit sold. Is not supposed to have the dollar number formatting here. What am I going to do? I'll go to control 1 and we'll definitely remove it from this one here. I'm going to have it removed. So I'm going to have it removed from this one. I'm going to have it removed as well. So then I go ahead and click on OK. So that just got removed from this one, not from this. So what about this one here? I want to do normal number formatting. We don't have a huge number for that. So we click on OK. So this is how we just got this KPI created. So the next thing we do now is just for you to copy this away from here. And I'm going to paste this one right here. So once I have this pasted here now, what I'm going to do is for me to remove my transaction. I remove my unit sold. And I go all the way down a little bit. I bring in my month here. And that gives me this. So I just need twice of this again. And again, to create the kind of analysis we want to create. So this is where the magic starts for we to start creating our, our kind of card we have in this particular part of the video, this one right here. Okay. So we can actually name this one to analysis. And the next one is going to be this one here. So name this one to dashboard. So dashboard. So you know how I used to actually format my dashboard environment. So go to view, shut the formula bar, the headlines and the grid lines down. So we have a plain, worksheet like this. So this is where we just have to start the magic. First of all, I want to go here, insert, and I'm going to bring in this text box. So inside it is going to be total revenue. So total revenue. So we need to format this. I'm going to do my Ctrl+1 to format it. No fill and no outline. So make sure you still have it selected. Go to the top level right here. And we just want to search for area black. It's going to be area something like this. And I want to have it on 12. So put it on 12 and come here now and select something that look a bit calm. So we can stretch it to show everything. So let us just do this centralization. That is beautiful. So I'm going to have it somewhere around here for now. So for the time being, we're going to have it here. Maybe after all, we can actually see how we can arrange things. So I'm not cool with the color I have for it. Let us just use something like this. That is beautiful. So when I go to the top here and go to insert, illustrations, shapes, and take this circle. To have a perfect circle, you need to hold the shift key down and drag it, and you're going to have something like this. So this is where we have to change the color. So I want to see no outline. As for the color, so let us go here. I don't have my color type here. Custom. So this is the color code I've used. You can take a look at that. So I have the color changed. Oh, I think I just affected the text here. Let us go to the shape. So we just have it already. So we can just select it. And for the outline, no outline for it. So I'm going to have this one right here quickly. All right, the next thing I do is just for me to come here and just see the plus sign, drag this down right here and quickly turn on the formula bar. Sorry, the formula bar, and reference this very one here and go to analysis and pick it up from here. That is actually my total revenue. So definitely I have my total revenue here. So the next thing we're going to do to the total revenue right now is just to make sure we format it. And we are still going to use the same area black. And I want to have this on 48. Let's go with 48. So 48 here. So with my 48 selected, what is actually obstructing that? So let us do that again. So 48 here. Okay, here is 48. So with 48, the font is going to be this color. So we can stretch it out for we to see it better right here. So I think 48 is going to be too much. I think let's just still go back to this particular part here. Our area black is not selected automatically. What the problem is, so here we go, we have it. So let us put it on 40 instead of 48. So we have it on 40. So we can just stretch it out a little bit, and something like this will be very cool. So which means we have to move it and come here and just definitely move this one. So we're gonna move this one here. So we centralize it just like this. Nicely done. So I want to bring quickly a slicer here, which is going to be my month slicer. But before the slicer comes in here, we have to make a settings first inside our analysis. We just have to insert the slicer somewhere around here. And I'm going to just copy this and paste it down. So before you do this pasting and a pivot table beneath the previous one, you must make sure that the one at the top wouldn't roll downward, else it's going to actually distort this. So I'm going to quickly move this off. I want to move this off, and as well I'm going to move this off. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just for me to actually, have my month right here. So with the month here, I want to actually insert a slicer, add a slicer for the month. That is beautiful. So inside here, I just want to go to my design. I go to ground total, turn it off. I come to reports, and I'm going to turn this, on. So that gives me month name at the top here. So if I select this, you can see what I'm having now. That is beautiful. So this is where the magic starts. So we have to go back to Power Query. What I just want to use for this is not the month name, but the month number. And right now we do not have the month number here. I can quickly go back to my data here and query connection. Right click. I want to go to edit. So from there now we can all right. So we can come here now and add a new column. So I want to go to my month, and I'm going to add month, which is going to add this month number for me. This is what I want to use. And then that thing we've not added actually is the year. So we go right here and go for the year. We add our year for the data. I think we have just 2 years of data right here, even if I load more. So now here we have month number. You can just rename it. Month number. So that is okay. Just come here. So go ahead and close and load. So give it some time. So you can see if I go here now, we have 2 columns added. But what happens if we go to analysis? I'm going to close this one. If I click on this here, so I scroll down a little bit, so we can't find the new one we've just added. So what I'm going to do now is just for me to move this one away. And if I still check now, more tables, there is no more tables. So what I can do now, if I right click, I couldn't see refresh here. I want to make sure I select a particular, pivot table and go up to rather data here and do refresh. So that actually, add the new ones I just, added. So I'm going to drag this one here. Now that gives me from 1 to 12. So which means from month 1 to 12. And that is actually going to be this here. January for 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of that. Okay. If I select January, I have 1. February, I have 2. March, I have 3. So interesting, right? So this is where we have to start to get much more deeper into this. I want to come here now and right click and select this and go to here, and I'm going to say show this as percentage difference from. So once you have this, you have to be very careful with how you do this. So if I click on this particular part here, so you see from February, from March, you can see all that. So just choose this one as its previous and click on OK. Okay, you might be thinking like, how does this work? If you want to know how this particular 15% come to play, I can actually show you how we got into this particular, 15% we have right here. So which one is the old between these two numbers? You have to know that. Can you guess that? Which one is the old? So I think the old is actually this, and the new is this. The old is January, the new is February. So let us make sure we do that here. So I'm going to say close bracket, equal to close bracket. I'm going to subtract new from the old. So this is the old here. Then once I've done that, I'm going to close it and divide it by what? By the old. So Control Enter. I want to stay in the same place. And now Control 1. I come here now and go to percentage. So I'm going to leave it. So this is how we got this. Can you see this now? So 15.20% is how we got it. Now, if you want to do the same thing now, you can actually say, okay, this one is new, this one is old. Then you can do the same thing by putting your equal sign here. You close that. Then you are taking your old. The old now is this. You are subtracting it from, sorry, the new now is that. So we are subtracting it from the old, which is going to be our February. And we close it and divide it by the old again. So hit your Enter key. And what we're going to do now is just to copy this formatting here. And you can see it's minus 6.88. So this is how the calculation is done behind the scene that you can't see. All right, why do I have this right here? We just have this here for verification purpose. I want to go here and I'm going to do this in currency. Take off the extra decimal and click on OK. That gives us this here. So we're about to actually go into the switching and all of that and create something as dynamic as what it is to compare the old months. Actually, we don't need this. I just want to use this to illustrate to you what, is happening behind the scene. So here we don't have our previous month. So we're comparing this one to this one to this one, and on and on. So let us actually start to write the formula that is going to actually help us to actually get if what is selected here is actually second month, which is February. So February now is this one. So I want us to return this particular month here. So which means this and this. So we have drop of 15.20%. You understand? So we're comparing these two months right here. So how do we do that? So first of all, I'm going to come here. So we have two options. So we have the if function, which is going to be nested if, and we have the ifs function. So work with me with the ifs function. Ifs. So the first logic right now is going to be this one here, because I'm going to have to reference that over and over again. What if I have that specific place named? You get it? Or if I don't want to have it named, I want to still use the same cell, I can actually copy this. So once I've done that, I'm going to say if it is equals to 1, I want you to return 0, which is nothing. Although after all, we're going to do something that would definitely wouldn't show anything right here. But for the starting, let's do this. So second logic is going to be if this particular same C13 is equals to I want to return this particular value right here. So if this same number, this same C13 is equals to 3, so I want to return this. So under comma again, I go into the logic for. So we paste it. Remember what we are referencing is this particular one. So here is our C13. You can see 13 here, and the column is C. If column 13, that is what you're actually saying. Column 13 is equals to 4 right now. I want you to retrieve value from here for me. So we paste again is equals to 5. Go ahead and retrieve something from here for me. So we paste again is equals to 6 now. So go right here and return something from June for me. So you paste in that one. If this is equals to 7, so we're going to retrieve something from here. So it's equals to 8. We're going to return something from here. Is equals to 9. So we are going to return something from here. So it's equals to 10. Then we're going to return something from here. Is equals to 11. Then we are going to return something from here. And finally, if it is equals to, that is going to be equals to 12, then go ahead and return something from here. Let us close and try it and see. So now we have this. We have to quickly format it, Control 1, and we do the number formatting to percentage. So let's see where we are returning something from. So we selected February and we are returning something from here. What if we select the month of December, which is going to be 12? So you can see we are returning something from here. So right now it might look like, what the heck are you doing? Is this really correct? Yes, this is exactly what you should do as well. If you look at what is going on right here, once we have nothing selected, we just have select from second month to see result. By the time we select this, what we are saying now is that we have value coming from what? We have the current value to be February, which is 8.3 million. And the value for the previous month, which is January right now, is actually 9.7. So we have it down by 15.20%. So how do we get this one? So we've just actually done this one. So how do we actually retrieve the previous month? You understand? So let us go back to our work. So I'm going to name this one percentage change. So percentage change. So here is going to be previous month. All right, for the previous month, we don't have to do too much work here. All we just have to do is to copy this one away from here. So look at my formula bar. I'm going to copy everything I have on my formula bar. So escape and come down here and paste it right here. You get it? So I'm going to double click on this. All I have to do now is just to move this one. Let it start from the top. Just move it. Just watch me. I don't have to write it over and over again. So this will definitely help me to retrieve the previous month while I have the percentage to compare the previous month with the current month on our selection. So double click and start all over again. Here you go. So we go this way. So now hit your enter key. So it is time for me to format it. I want to use this formatting currency, no extra decimal point. So we go with this. All right. Let us take, for example, what happens if I have January selected? So I have 0 when I select January. We don't want to retrieve anything. So by the time I select February right now, I'm seeing value for January. If you think that is a lie, let me highlight this and let you see what is going on. So I have February selected here. It's showing value for January here. And if you look at it now, the January value is 9.7 like this. And this is the full version of it if we don't actually format it this way. So if I select March right now, so value for March is actually this 7.9 and it's showing the previous month, which is 8.3. And if you can see what we have here, this is exactly what it is. So we are actually seeing the changes now between this particular March and February. So it's actually minus 6.88. By the time we select April, so the same thing happens. So we selected April. In April, we actually made sales of 9.7 million. But the previous month of April is actually March. So it's actually showing 7.7, which is this one right here. And the percentage change is actually 25.94 because the current month we have on selection is higher than the previous month. You can see the percentage change. So what about this? So once you've done this, the next thing to do right now is how could you get this to the dashboard? That is where the next thing comes in. So right now, I'm going to go back to my dashboard here. So here we are. I want to get this one duplicated. So move it down. So I'm going to type in here, stretch it a little bit. So previous month. So previous month. So I have to go to the top here. So I can select something like this for my previous month. So I can even make it bold. All right. So here is my previous month. So I'm going to bring it right here. So duplicate it. And here's going to be my monthly change. Or you can just use percentage change. So percentage change. So let us have this one right here. So by now, you should know what you're getting into. So we have to pick the previous month value from here. And we have to pick the percentage from here. Oh, sorry for that. An error occurred. So we go back here. So we pick up the percentage change here. So we go back to analysis now, and we can now take the slicer. So come here. So as you can see here, the slicer is working. If I deselect the slicer, so because there is nothing in selection, what happens? We end up having 0, 0 here. When we get back here right now, this is what we're going to have. So how do we actually get this corrected? We don't want to see 0 and 0 here. So this is where if condition is going to actually work. I'm going to say here, if, use an if condition, if this one here is equals to 1, give me blank, else go ahead and run this whole function here. Then we close it, hit enter. So the same thing I've done there is what I'm going to do to this one as well. So use if inside if else. So I'm going to say if this very number here is equals to 1, definitely do nothing, don't show anything, else go ahead and run the whole function. I'm going to have to close it here. Then I hit my enter. Let's just go back to the dashboard. Now we see nothing. You get it? So what do we actually, see when something like this happened? We want to actually see a message popped out to say select from second month to see result. So I just want to come here now. I will type in here. Okay, I'm going to type in here a message. All right, so beneath this message here, I want to use the same if condition again. I'm going to say if this one here is equals to 1, then inside it, I'm going to type in select from second month to see result, else show nothing. Here we go. So we have this because we have them as blanks and it's equal to 1 as well. So we can now go back to our dashboard here. I'm going to pick this. Okay, let me pick the one with value so that we can have it. We can be sure of what we have here. So I'm going to get this. So stretch it. So go right here and we go to analysis. So we pick this. Okay, now I'm going to have this one here. So I'll go to the top level here and I'm going to use something red. So exactly like this. So I'm sending this to back, send to back, so that we can have the other one, we can be able to select this one easily. Understand? So let's select this. That disappears and this actually, comes up. You get this right. So this is how we just got this created. So we're not really cool with what we have now. We need to actually format it. Not just that, when this is actually negative, so we want to see red. And when we have a positive number like this, like 28.02%, we want to see green. How do we do this? Very important. This is back again. All right, we have to go back to analysis here. And this is where we have to make the configuration. So let's just go and have something in selection. I want to select February. So we come back here now. So something is selected. So at the top here, I'm going to type in check. Check. So inside this check, I'm going to put 1% here, 1%. All right, inside this 1%, I will definitely come here now. Okay, I am going to select here. I'm finding a place that will be suitable for what I'm trying to do now. I think here would, because don't worry, you actually understand what I'm doing this. So I'm gonna make a reference to this. So we have this right here. This is what we're gonna actually use to turn the condition we really want. So for now, I'm gonna come here now and type in less, which is gonna be minus. So I'm gonna type up, which is gonna be plus, right? So here now, what I'm gonna do now is gonna be equals sign. So with my equal sign, I want to actually ask if this one here is is less than this. Hit my enter, it's giving me true because it is less than. So now the same thing I've done, I'm gonna actually ask if this particular one here is greater than this. So we have false. Can you see what we have right now? All right, beautiful. So the next thing we do is to select this one here. So go to the top ribbon and look at the conditional formatting here. So you go to new role. So we want to use formula to determine what we want. So I'm going to select this. So what I want now is this. I'm going to say if this one here, so which is this cell here, is equals to false. So we want to format it. The font is what we want to format. I want to format the font to red. So let's see. That is true. What happens if that is not true? So we see it return to this. So you can see once we go back here now, so it returns to red. So still have it selected. Go ahead and add a new row. So we just want to say if this particular one here is equals to true, so we want to format it to green. The font to green. So it doesn't. So as you can see, it did not work. That was because we did wrong selection here. Let me show you what we have done. Manage rules. Okay, before we can be able to see it, we have to select this one here. So go to manage rules here. And here we have this one saying if this particular one here is equals to, false, we want to see this, and is giving us this. And if this one is equals to true, we want to say this, and it's not that. And this is what we want. We want red to be here right now. The red is not actually working. Let us cancel it and go to here and change it to a positive number. I think May gives us positive number. So can you see? It doesn't really work. How can we make it work? Let us change it back to February. The only way to make it work is come back here, select this. Let us go ahead and, go to manage rules. and delete all those rows from here. So we start afresh. So we have to come here and say if this one here is equals to false. So I want this to be red. So we select the color, the red color, click on OK, click on OK right here. Then we need to add a new row. So on the new row again, we have to select the same thing if this one here is equals to true. So because it is going to be true, this is actually positive. So now we select the green color for it. So we have two of them. So now automatically it works. Let us go back here now. Change this one to a positive number. It's giving you this green. We want a negative number. It's giving us red. So the next we can do now is just for we to actually go to the top here, go to view and turn off the grid lines. So I just want to bring back the header part of it. So I just want to open it up a bit. So go to the top again and come here. We have to centralize it and we crank it up a little bit. Something like this would be cool, that we pop. So that is nice. So once we've just gotten this done, the next thing we're going to do right now is to make sure we do copy. So once we've copied, we just go to our pivot table and we go back to paste and we paste as link picture, just like this. So that was the reason why we turn off the grid lines. So I can now get this one off from here. We don't actually need this one here now. So we can have, okay, because we double click on it, so it returns us back here. So once we double click, it's going to take you back to its base. So now we don't need to double click it. All we have to do is just to make sure we just drag it and have it right at this spot. So now you can see what happens once we have positive numbers. So we have it on red. This is the only way you can actually do this. Please let me know in the comment section if you can actually convert this, into a conditional formatting like this without using this particular method I've used. So if you have a shorter form to do this, do not hesitate to let me know. I will be happy for that. So let us double click on this and return back here. So we have to be consistent. Let us go back to the top. So it's on 14. So we have to go here now. So make sure we put this on 14 as well. So we now have this on 14. What we are going to do now to this one is just for we to make sure this is gonna be like this. All right, we have no need of this one any longer. So when we don't select anything, this is what we have as a result. Select from second month to see result. By the time we select February, so we have something huge happening. Well, let's see what that is. Oh, do we have that? Okay, let us open it up. I don't know what is going on. Okay, now it was because of that place is compressed. So we've opened it up for it to show the percentage here. That is nice. So this is exactly what it is that we have. So nothing is being selected. Even though if January is selected, it cannot meet up with what we specified right here. We're still gonna have this one on this particular kind of message. So the moment we start selecting from this is going to give us comparison. So just know that the very month we selected now is what is showing up right here, and we have the previous month, which is February, to be this particular value right here, and the difference between these two numbers is actually 6.88. It dropped and you're seeing it in red. So what about this? So just always try as much as you could to save your work. So the next step now, I'm just going to get this one copied. Oh, sorry for that. Just copy this and as well copy the header. Once you see the plus sign, drag it down Here we have this. So what we're going to have right here is actually going to be the quantity ordered or the quantity sold. So here we can just say QTY ordered. So the next one is going to be our transaction. Get this down as well. So here is going to be transaction. All right. So you know what? You just have to select this to drag them down. So we go right here, put our equal sign right there. And here we go. So we do the same to this one to take the transaction. So we'll pick it up from here. So this is what we have. So it is time for we to actually format it nicely the way it should be. So what format do we want to have for it? So let's us go with this format here. I want to go here, double click it. So select them both and reduce what we have there. Okay. If you are cool with this, you can release it. For now, I am not going to use something like this. What if I use the normal one? I'm going to take this black outfit. So I use the normal one, and I'm actually cool with the normal one. And if I make it bold, I think is actually fine. So what I can do now is just to step it down a little bit. That is nice. So the next thing I do now is change the colors of this one, and as well, this color would need to be changed. So to change the color, just go here, click on this one, and we go to more colors. So we come here and get off this one. Down here is the color. So we have the color ready. So the same color I have for this is what I'm going to do. Give this. So here we go. Can you see that right now? This is beautiful. So we are almost there. Can you see what we have just gotten now? Very, very dynamic. So what we can do now is to make sure we actually connect this to this particular one here. So we come here, click on this, and connect the slicer. So we connect the slicer to it, and that changes our value. So as you can see, we have the slider to be very dynamic on all of them. So we can now see our total revenue, the previous month, and change between the current month we have selected and the previous month. So we see the quantity ordered that amount to this, and as well how many transactions we've had over time. Nice storytelling. What about this? So this is how we are going to go ahead to, keep on adding more stories to this. And before you know it, we are going to be just like what we have right now. So the next thing to do now is just to actually add this particular part where we have the male and the female purchase of our product and see which one we're doing very much well.